Alex Wiley and I'm reporting from the RSS annual conference, which this year comes from Belfast. I'm with Kevin Johanson, who is from the expert group for Sami Statistics, based in Norway, who is delivering a session on statistics to ensure welfare for ethnic minorities. Welcome, Kevin.
Thanks.
And for those not in the know, can you tell us who the Sami people are, where they're based?
It's an indigenous people based in Norway, Sweden, Finland and Russia. And we think that there might be something like a little under 100,000 Sami people altogether, but the numbers are not totally, we are not totally sure about that yet. There were also originally 10 different Sami languages, so it's not only one of them. But mostly because of assimilation, but also partly because of other reasons, many of those languages are now distinct. So in Norway, for example, there are 3 different Sami languages that are spoken daily. The biggest one has between 20,000 and 35,000 speakers, and the smallest one has only 600 people speaking it. So that is the situation in Norway.
So tell us a bit about your talk.
Yeah, we're gonna focus on how we develop Sami statistics, because that has been relatively tricky. When we started with it 12 years ago, we had to start totally from scratch. There were hardly any Sami statistics available. We had to start making it. We had to make phone calls, find out, for example, how many Sami students you have who study the Sami language, how many people who speak Sami language. We didn't have any of those numbers at that time, which made it very difficult for politicians when they should develop a policy on how to strengthen and vitalize Sami languages, for example. It was the same case with health issues. How many Sami patients did you have, and did they have any other needs than, for example, the majority population in Norway and so on. So when we are now kept on this project for 12 years, we publish annually a book on Sami statistics on several topics, and that has been, so to say, the Bible for politicians for how to to deal with numbers for the Sami population.
And how did you go about putting together the statistics on the Sami people?
That is a very good question, because it was a very hard job. As I said earlier, we started more or less on scratch. We had to find out everything by ourselves. We had to just make phone calls to all the municipalities in Norway. We spoke with hospitals, we spoke with schools, we spoke with everybody who had any, in a way or another, any touch with Sami people, any contact with Sami people. And so that way we started to gather information and get numbers. In the beginning it was maybe not the most accurate, because we didn't know if we reached everyone, but now after 12 years we are quite sure that the numbers we present now are pretty correct.
Did you encounter kind of any challenges along the way?
There are very many challenges. If I should mention the most important one is the feelings, because Sami people have been under what you call discrimination and assimilation for very, very many years. Because of that, they don't necessarily have very much faith in the government or in research and so on. So not all of them wanted to give out any information. They didn't want to admit if they were Samis or not. I can understand that, because their generation, like 2 generations ago, if you in Norway happen to be registered as a Sami, that would only have a negative impact on you. So the older Sami people, we had to work quite hard with to convince them that this was actually for the good of the Sami people. The younger people are much easier. They don't have the same experience, so for them it's not any problem. So it's much easier to work with and to develop Sami statistics now than it was when we started.
What did you learn about the Sami population?
We have learned a lot of things. There are when the majority create statistics on Samis and on other indigenous people, it's very often focused on the differences and what the minority is lacking according to the, if you compare with the majority population. That would mean that they very often point out that they have less education, lower income and so on. We have also found other things that maybe the majority statisticians who represent the majority not always think about that. For example, the family ties within Sami societies can be of a big benefit for Sami people also in difficult times of life and so on. So it is a complicated question to answer, but it's we have found out some good things and some things that we have to work very much on. This month we are publishing an article on sexual abuse in Sami societies, and when we see how the situation is there, we see that also within the Sami society we have a lot of issues that we have to work on ourselves to make better.
And that leads me nicely on to my next question, which was how do you think these stats will help policymakers in the future?
Yeah, I think it will help a lot, and the response we get from both politicians in the Sami parliament, but definitely also from politicians in the Norwegian parliament, is that this is what they use when they develop politics on the areas. They finally get knowledge on how the situation actually is that they didn't have before. When I used to work for the Sami parliament myself back in the days, very often we unfortunately had to make guesses on how the situation were. Sometimes those guesses were relatively correct, sometimes they appear to be not that correct. So now it's much easier to make a policy that actually works for the benefit of the Sami people.
And what are the next steps for the project?
We're going to continue publishing statistics on issues that are important for Sami people and also for the government and knowledge for the minority, for researchers and so on. The main focus will probably be on education and on health. We see that those two topics are very important. But we also focus more now on publishing statistics in Sami languages, to use this as a mean to strengthen and vitalize the Sami languages. So it's both a question of the content, but also on which language we publish it in.
And how do you think these new statistics will kind of help tackle prejudice in those communities?
I hope and I think that it's going to help the situation quite a bit. We recently published an article on discrimination against Sami people in Norway, and the numbers are very clear. It's a 9 times higher chance that you are discriminated in Norway if you are a Sami than if you belong to the minority. So very, very many Sami people have at least once in their life, and in many cases at least once this last year, been discriminated for several reasons. We have also seen that it's very high numbers, unfortunately, on domestic violence, and violence against Sami women is extremely high. So these are things we're focusing on a lot right now. So we almost force the politicians to make a stand and to actually deal with these issues in a way to solve the problem.
All right, thanks very much,
Yeah,
Kevin.
thank you.
Thank you.